Hey folks, get outdoors and enjoy the brisk November weather while you still can until the whole planet turns into a hot, soupy chemical mess resembling its sister planet Venus shortly next year. This November 3rd at 1 p.m. at the Mount Auburn Cemetery, experience the beauty of autumn during the Wash in Color walking tour. Visit some of the more colorful trees in the cemetery's landscape, in addition to looking for plant and shrubs putting out their fall fruits and nuts, all fed off nutrients from decaying human bodies. Free for members or $12 for the norms. Hike the Blue Hills with the AMC Club starting at Ponkaponk Pond on Friday, November 29th, 2019 at 10:30 a.m. Enjoy this 5-mile moderate hike. Sorry no dogs, as they might be eaten by the Blue Hills Bigfoot. Don't worry, the beast doesn't usually eat humans unless they bring noisy little 4-legged treats. Or maybe you'll enjoy this superb owl prowl adventure put on by the Mass Audubon Society. It's under the moon and for adults November 8th at 7:30 p.m. Or Owl Prowl Adventures for families is 6:30 on November 9th. I guess the sexy cursing owls only show up on the 8th? Do all owls really hoot? Why can't we hear them fly? Are they not what they seem? Join us as we learn about our local owls and walk through fields and forests under starlight, listening for our resident screech, barred, and great horned owls at Broadmoor Wildlife Sanctuary, Natick, Mass. Or perhaps you would like to tour the Public Sculpture Park at the Cordova Museum in Lincoln Sunday, November 3rd at 1 p.m. All ages welcome, as no sexy cursing owls are present. Free with admission or membership. On Tuesday, November 12th at 5:30 p.m., enjoy a night hike through the dunes of the Crane Wildlife Refuge on a walk called Dunes by the Light of the Beaver Moon. Meet by a campfire on the beach to get oriented before hiking into the full moon along the beach and finally on the dune trails. Transformed and illuminated by the glow of the full moon, the dunes are an eerily beautiful landscape. So why is it called the Beaver Moon? Because beavers are particularly active on this moon, storing food and making repairs to their lodge. Not for any other reason, you dirty-minded viewers. Bring water and dress for the weather to maximize comfort. Well, there you go. Superb owl prowls, beautiful beaver moons, terrifying Blue Hills Big Feet, and more are all available for your perambulating pleasure.
Hi Cambridge, I'm really excited to have Jenny Gilbert from Mount Auburn Cemetery here to talk to us about a really cool event happening in November. Welcome to Cambridge Calendar Show.
Thank you.
What is this event that's happening?
So on November 12th, we're going to do a tour of some of our really important historic veterans monuments. For the past couple years, we've been preserving these monuments under grants that we've gotten from the state of Massachusetts.
Okay.
We had a couple grants during the Civil War sesquicentennial, and then we had another grant just this past year. So we've been able to preserve 35 monuments.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to walk around, probably cover about 1.5 miles on the walking tour, and look at about 15 of these monuments. Talk about their symbolism, talk about the veterans who they commemorate, and talk a little bit about how the veterans monuments are different and unique than some of the other monuments in the cemetery.
So this event is called For Country, Not for Glory. It is, like you said, it's going to be monuments that are for soldiers or about soldiers, military veterans. How are some of these monuments different?
So most of these monuments that we're going to be talking about are from the Civil War.
Okay.
And during the Civil War, it was really a turning point in America in terms of memorialization. 750,000 people died, so it was a huge loss. A lot of the people who died were young men. At Mount Auburn Cemetery, we have 928 veterans just from the Civil War alone.
Wow.
And it was during the Victorian era, and people were very sentimental. And so the monuments, this was at a time when you didn't call up the memorial factory and get a monument. You actually worked with a stone carver. And I think because it was so devastating, people really wanted to have some kind of tangible representation of the people who were commemorated. So these monuments have this beautiful carved detail: hats, swords, tassels, belts, and they also have really nice sayings like the one that the tour is about, or they'll list the battles that a soldier served in, or we even have one that he was a captain of a ship, so there's a carved image of the ship where he was captain. So the monuments are really beautiful. They have just full of symbolism and other Victorian symbolism, like the oak leaf that symbolizes strength, and the ivy that symbolizes loyalty. So they're really interesting to look at, and the preservation work that's been done on them has saved their inscriptions, preserved the stones, brought back the marble to its original beautiful white color. So they're really interesting to begin with, and it's a nice way to honor and remember the veterans of all wars.
Are there any stories or monuments that you're especially excited to be showing that day?
Yeah, so a couple of the monuments are really evocative. There's a monument to a young man named Nathaniel Bowditch. He died when he was 23 years old, and he died in Virginia. His father, Henry Bowditch, already had a family lot at Mount Auburn. So the way at Mount Auburn, families would buy lots that would be able to accommodate many, many family members. So his father, when he heard that his son had been wounded, rushed down to Virginia, only to discover that his son had died on the battlefield. And one of the reasons his son had died was because there was no medical help on the field. His father went on to be a big advocate and actually made a lot of changes to have ambulance service, so that young men like his son didn't die. But his monument is a beautiful sandstone monument. It has a life-size rendition of his cavalry sword that is beautifully carved. And we have a letter in the archives from his father. We have several letters, but the one from his father that I remember talks about the day that he buried his son, standing at the monument long after the burial was over, watching the sunset, and just feeling this immense sadness over the loss of his son.
You were saying, too, that the Civil War was sort of like a first time that the country kind of experienced that type of not dying near your loved one, sort of a hard death in a way, and that the act of like bringing him up to Boston was also in and of itself sort of monumental.
It was, because during the Civil War, there was embalming techniques were new. There was not refrigeration. It was hard to move a body. So a lot of the Civil War graves at Mount Auburn are cenotaphs. So the person is not buried there, and that's true for Robert Gould Shaw. He was the famous colonel of the Massachusetts 54th, one of the first African-American regiments. There's the statue on the Boston Common that commemorates the 54th. But his family lot is also at Mount Auburn. Now, he was left at Fort Wagner with his men on the beach. He was shot in the heart during that battle, and he died. But his family also had a monument at Mount Auburn, and they put a beautiful bronze plaque on it to commemorate the valiant service of their son. And actually, that monument became an important pilgrimage site for men who had served in the 54th for many years after, and is actually one of the most important monuments at the cemetery. Is very beautifully artistically, even though that one doesn't contain, beyond the bronze plaque, the same type of symbolism as some of the other ones.
Gotcha. This is part of the Friends of Mount Auburn?
So yeah, our programs.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
Our programs are run by the Friends of Mount Auburn Cemetery. We're a 501c3, so we're a nonprofit organization. The cemetery itself actually has a different designation because we're an active cemetery, still selling burial space. And so we offer more than 100 programs a year, and we really have a wide range of programs. We do a lot of walking tours, like the tour I'm going to give. We do music. We do wellness, so we do meditation. We have a series on Sundays with Satigatha, which is a meditative music group. We do a really great citizen science volunteer program if anyone out there wants to look at plants and animals and help us be good stewards to the environment. We do music, dance, just a very
it's
wide
vast. Yeah,
range
you've
of
got a
programming.
lot.
Well, there are 100,000 people buried at Mount Auburn, so we have a lot of different topics
Yeah.
that we can cover. And we're also, one of the biggest green spaces in Cambridge, 175 acres.
Wow, yeah.
We're an urban wildlife habitat. We have 3 ponds. So even if you don't come to a program, come take a walk at Mount
take a walk.
Auburn. Unplug. It's really
Yeah.
a beautiful spot.
You can still be living while I'm
Absolutely, absolutely. It's as much for the living as it is for the dead.
That should be a tagline. But so again, this event is November 12th from 3 to 4:30. It's called For Country Not for Glory, and it does sound like it's going to be about a little bit of walking, but not too hard. Beautiful location in the heart of Cambridge. So how can people find out more about how to be involved with Mount Auburn Cemetery?
Great. So if you're interested in learning more about the Friends of Mount Auburn Cemetery, check out our website. Our calendar is up to date. Also, when you come to the cemetery, stop by our visitor center, talk to one of our staff or one of our knowledgeable docents,
Yeah.
and they can tell you what's going on. And if you'd like to get more involved, which we would love, that would be a great first place.
And what's your address, your website?
It's www.mountauburn.org.
Awesome. So the event is November 12th from 3 to 4:30. It's called For Country Not for Glory. Cambridge is it's one of our jewels, Mount Auburn Cemetery. Jenny, thank you so much.